Welcome back to Lifetime Talks. I'm Jamie Martin, and in today's episode, we're talking about MB360 and the mantra, feel, breathe, move. I have Jessie Syfko with me again today. Hi, Jessie. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be with you.
I'm thrilled. I'm always excited to sit with you.
All right. Well, okay. So Jessie is the SVP of Digital Innovation and Strategy at Lifetime. But on top of that, she's a certified strength and conditioning specialist, certified yoga teacher, and doctor of traditional naturopathy. She's also the brand creator of the MB360 program. And that's really what our focus is today. We want to talk about this program that you've really built around the idea of melding mind and body. So start there. What is MB360?
Well, at the very center, it's about shortening the distance between awareness and intentional action. So as we move through our life, as we get new ideas, if we have new messages from other people, as life changes, if we can be aware and we can grow and we can learn, and then we can be intentional about how we use that information in our lives, we're starting to master ourselves. So energy being everything at the core, we built MB360 as a fusion of breathwork, deep core activation and mobility, and then strength and conditioning that builds better posture, better alignment, and better emotional intelligence so that we can get into a really great meditative state at the end.
Got it. Okay, so it's really about melding those pieces all together. And one thing I've loved when I've heard you describe this in the past is like it's bringing together a lot of disciplines that you might be doing individually at different points. So you might over here do yoga, you might over here do breath work and meditation, but you're kind of saying we bring it all together because of how important they are all interconnected.
Yeah, what I found was I had to go to a gym or a boutique to get strength and conditioning that was optimization focus or really teaching quality movement, mobility centered, right? So from my old athlete self or me being a strength and conditioning specialist for all these years of really teaching the great fundamentals of strength training, which is everything, right? We know that thick thighs save lives and the amount of muscle you can maintain in your life is one of the most important facets of longevity, right? But also just keeping you injury free, letting you do the things that you want to do in your life, right? But then the mindfulness was out of there. There was no mindfulness over there. And so people are working hard and they're getting injured and they're focusing on how much weight or how hard they can work or how many calories or all these what I think are kind of more secondary focuses of fitness. And then you go all the way over on the mindful side and we were losing the performance of great form or the structure of the skeletal body or the awareness of some of these other factors. And then the third pose for me was I was involved with a lot of personal development. Like I had mentors and teachers about business and leadership and entrepreneurship. And I was like, those types of personal development messages weren't in either of those two worlds.
Right.
So I created the thing that I wanted to do the most. I wanted to be mindful. I wanted to feel amazing and energetic. Obviously, you wanted to be able to meet yourself where you were on the mat, so it was an inclusive environment. Right. I wanted to be able to train as hard as I wanted to, and in the same day, different reason, I wanted to just feel free to make decisions that I knew were best for me. And then at the end, being able to earn a meditative state where you can ultimately reset, restore, and receive like this amazing access to yourself that usually your brain is too noisy to feel into. And so, through developing this and then rolling it out, the world started to catch up, right? Then the world started to talk about somatics and the emotional overlay of the body. Well, that's great because we do that in MB360. We teach you about how to release, how to let go, how to feel, right? People are now learning about intuition and how that relates to movement and how movement relates to mental health. Yes. Well, we have been doing that for years. And then in MB360 talking about that. There is no gap between the mind and the body, right? Now, but you can create a super highway if you want.
Right.
And then, using tools like weighted vests. When we started using weighted vests, so we brought weighted vests to Lifetime 3.5 years ago. And I was using it for years before that. We started because we were like, well, this is really cool because it's going to make movements harder. It's going to allow you to use your arms and your legs without holding on or changing your form, but adding a little bit of load. What we found, though, and this was prior to Lifetime, was when the weighted vest came off, the nervous system response, the calming effect, right? Think weighted blanket.
Yeah.
that people had was profound. And it was over and over and over and over again. People are like, oh my gosh, I feel so different. So yeah, we use it as a work smarter, load your body, strength training, enhancing tool. And we parallel it with do the movement with the weight, do the movement without, feel the difference, and teach the people neuroplasticity, right? Behavior change, how to let go, how to shift, how to go from stress to calm, how to go from hard to flow. And so I baked it into the format so that people could start to have a physical relationship to the decisions that they make and the impact. Immediate value exchange. Do this, feel this.
Yeah,
change this, feel this. So instead of, Jamie, here's 5 things that you do, which one worked?
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Right. But if you can feel that difference,
one variable.
Yeah.
You're the constant, but one variable change, 2 environments.
Yeah.
What did it feel like to you? And then the next time you come, make a decision.
Yeah. You get to choose, right? You have the choice. Oh, I love that. You mentioned somatics, which I think is such an important thing to touch on briefly. Can you just speak to what that is? Because I know it's becoming a more common in the mainstream right now, but when you say that term, somatic, whether it's yoga or other forms of movement, what does that mean?
So simply stated, soma means body.
Yeah.
And the body is where all the feeling and the emotion lives, right? So we can describe something with our brain, but it's really what matters is how it feels in the body. And so big moments in our life or big belief systems get anchored in our body. Yep. And so it's like when you hear a song, for example, and it immediately pulls you back to a moment, right?
Nostalgia.
So, yeah. So, and you feel it, or you hear a song and you want to move a certain way. Yeah. There's a rhythm to our body. And then there's a fascial field, and then there's an aura field. And your body is this electromagnetic field, which is why 90% of our communication is energy. 10% is what we say and do in the room. So moving the body changes what the body holds on to. It changes what the body can hold. And so these rhythms of movement help. Then the next part of that would be the nervous system. So we have a fight or flight side, which is stress and it's contraction and it's a remove all the energy from the vital organs so that you can fight, flight, or freeze or fawn, right?
Right.
Well, we want in a healing environment, in an optimization environment, in a creative environment, we want all that vital energy in the center.
Right.
So vagus nerve, central nervous system, we're calm, our breath is free. Yeah. And so somatics create a resting, releasing environment for your body and so it's not separate. Your emotional body, really, which gets into the muscles as it gets deeper and into the attachments and the bones as it gets deeper, to release. And if you think about how we release, right? We go to the bathroom every day. We need to sleep every day. We are cyclical in being. We need to charge, we need to engage, we need to adapt, right? We need to grow, and then we need to calm and settle and heal and restore, and then do it again, right? So the sun comes up and the sun comes down.
Yep.
Where we gap, and why somatics I think are so important today, is in the emotional ability to release the things that start just with perception. Social media, other people's opinions, imposter syndrome, the decisions that you made that didn't lead you to where you wanted to go and how you feel about it, right? So if you can teach emotional release through movement, and somatics is also very intuitive. It's a feel-based science rather than you have to follow the plan or it should look like this. It's feel your way through.
Yeah. And you incorporate that into your classes, but you have like these moments of like shake out and release that you do every single class.
Every single class.
Okay, yeah.
It's towards the beginning. So here's kind of the flow. So we start in breathing on our back.
Yep.
And we build a state of awareness within. Yeah. I think when we walk into a workout, what we don't always become aware of is what comes with us. So
what we're carrying along and bringing into the space with us.
So there's an intentional moment of now arrive in your body again. I think a lot of us walk around out of our body, right? We're in the past, we're in the future, we're focused on things that don't matter, like presence, stillness, calm. And now we can start to deepen the breath, right? And then we move into deep core work, right? So very focused, transverse abdominis, right? Supportive stability for your spine and your movement. All good movement comes from the deep core, right? Or it doesn't, and then you're in trouble. And then we activate a brain system. So this is another thing that's very cool about MB360. It's like a brain vitamin every time you go through the process. You start on your back, just like you started in life. Then you roll, just like you did in your life. Then you get to a crawling position, just like you did in your life. Primal patterning, right? Then you build into a squat, you walk, you move into a bigger. So it's a progressive development for your brain and for the awareness of all your joints in multi-plane, which allows you to then be more ready for the next phase. Well, so now think about this. So we're oxygenated, we're mentally aware, we're present, we're focused. Now we have brought awareness to all the joints, how we move up, down, forward, back, right, left, right, and now we get to our first standing moment, posture. So think about how our posture shows up, and now we shake it out. So it's like what gets brought to the surface with the breathing, with the deep core, with the movement, with the heat, right? Which is what you want. It's like, think of it as a very highly intelligent warm-up. And now we're going to release. The other thing about it is it brings joy into the equation. It brings community in the equation. So dopamine, serotonin, connection, right? Joy and connection. And then we all high-five each other. It's like baked into the format. We introduce ourselves to the people in the room. We create a bond. And then we start doing our mobility-focused strength and conditioning segment of the class. What you get then, though, is better awareness of what your body needs you to know today, right? Where you sore? Does this feel like it needs extra time and attention? I'm not going to do this thing because whatever, right? Just awareness of my body today.
Right. Where am I right now? Meet yourself where you are, to your point.
And you can't prepare for that.
Right.
So we live in a world where it's always about the plan for people or doing what the teacher says. And what I always tell my people is experience is the best teacher. I'm here to offer you choice. But ultimately, it's your decision to choose.
Right.
So we teach intuitive intensity, back to feel, breathe, move. If we can feel into it and trust people to feel into their body and hold the space of unconditional love, now we have an environment where people then choose things based on love. Not ego, not other people's opinions, not keeping up with the Joneses, not the beat of the music, but what feels right. And so feel starts first, right? So when we build our patterns, we do holds, like they're called isometric holds, which means that you're not moving, shortening or lengthening the form or the muscle or the range of motion. You're just holding and feeling into it. And then we go to that threshold of shake so that we can build a relationship to the nervous system, and it needs you to be focused and present and calm.
Right. In that
moment.
The shake.
Calm. Another thing in that moment we talk to and teach in a lot of our formats is you can drive anger further into the body by constantly being angry when you're doing the movement.
Right.
Your body is just anchoring all the time. And so I observed this, 15 years ago in my classes because I could feel it. I would feel the student doing the work of I hate me. You could feel the I hate me energy. I'm not good enough energy. Like, be thinner, be prettier, be richer, be whatever. You can feel these gaps when you actually pay attention. Well, then they're firing and wiring those beliefs all the way through their body, all the way through their movement, all the way through their strength. So they're getting what I try to say is it's like being stronger in a weaker place or being stronger in a angry place.
Right.
And so now your brain starts looking out into the world for reasons to be angry. And so I started bringing that into the practice. If what you want to feel or where you want to be isn't where you are, then don't defend how you got here.
Right. Yes.
Start again.
Yep. And that's the opportunity every single time. Start again.
Start again.
I love that.
And so instead of I'm angry and I'm going to be angry and I'm going to do angry things in my class, I'll be like, I'm angry. I'm going to neutralize it as it's just sensation. And now I'm going to move it through my body. I'm going to release. I'm going to find the calm. I'm going to find the acceptance. I'm going to find the joy. I'm going to find the love. I'm going to find the gratitude in the information. Now my feel matches breathing, okay? So if I can feel it in awareness, or I can transform it, and now I can breathe with it, now I have a partnership. Now I have movement in my body, okay? And that's what your breath does, right? It moves stuff through the body.
From top to bottom, right?
All of
it's
it.
moving it,
Most important thing that we do all day, breathing. The most impactful decision to be better in your body, to be better in your mind, is to breathe better. It's also the number one way you burn fat. So for people that are trying to burn fat, breathe better, program yourself to breathe better all day, right? All night, which is why mouth tape is so important.
and more and more people are learning about that,
And then move. So if you can't feel it, we don't move on to the focus on the breathing while the feel it's there, right? It's got to be 1 and 2 and then 3. So it teaches the brain to body connection, so the neuromuscular part of the brain. A lot of people have injuries or scar tissues or emotional trauma that breaks kinetic patterning in the body. And so willpower isn't going to get you there. So what that actually does, if you're not self-aware, you don't have a coach, is it creates compensation. And when you have compensatory patterning, your joints, your muscles, and your body wear and tear in places they weren't designed to wear and tear. So it always goes back to energy. Energy in motion is emotion. Emotion over time gets anchored, starts in the field, goes into the fascia, and then it eventually anchors deeper. And so when you can build a movement pattern every day, release, let go, holistic thinking, right? So if you move any part of the body, the whole field changes. It's called tensegrity. And you can build a relationship to what do I need? And when you actually start doing it, if your body guides you somewhere else, go with it. The somatic response, the release, the power of that movement is going to help you shift whatever is ready to let go, because that's the other part. Cells are always turning over. There's always something being ready to be released. And your body is always changing, right? Organs are regrowing. Skin is regrowing. Your hair is regrowing. Everything, right?
And nothing is static.
Nothing. So it creates flow and rhythm with self-healing, self-love. And in our practice, the mental part of it is self-awareness, self-study. How do I observe myself? How do I learn about myself? How do I ask better questions about myself with no judgment, right? So that I can go into the third phase, which is repetition, which is self-mastery. So if I get to self-mastery, I have become aware enough to have an opinion of, do I want to change or choose again, kind of a thing. Now I'm going to study it in a manner. So think of it as like if I'm learning to lunge, what feels good? What other options do I have? Again, something simple could be like, what angle am I in? What weight do I use? How fast do I go? Do I add impact? It still could be applied to a physical piece. And then the mastery is once I go, ooh, I got it, right? So I have great form. I have great emotion. I have great focus. I feel amazing. Now I want to master that so that I got to get to that 10,000 and more reps so that the unconscious programming of my body shows up without me thinking about it. Think about it as from sports. We were at the U.S. Open, and it was incredible to sit back and watch Djokovic and Alcaraz. That is awareness, study, mastery.
Oh, absolutely.
They're not thinking about all of the pattern of their body from the serve and the ball and the arm and the grip of the racket and where you're looking. It's programmed. So you can program yourself to reset every day with really great movement.
I love that so much. And I will tell you, and like I said, I haven't been to a ton of MB360 classes, but the ones I have been in, I will tell you kind of come in one state, and you, like when I've left, there's like, you feel like a lightness upon you, like throughout, because of just the way that it's programmed. It's almost like there's a little bit of freedom that happens
That's the
with
goal.
each time, right? Like there's something that just feels a little bit lighter and like anything's possible, kind of a feel.
Well, I feel like people don't have a relationship to their body. First of all, we are not our body, right? Just like we are not our mind.
Right.
But we are gifted this incredible resource and this vehicle. And I think learning about your body should be the things that we start with kids in school. Learn about your breath, right?
Yes.
Learn about your physical body. Learn how to be strong. Learn how to drink water. Learn how to simplify and nourish yourself with real food that was as close to the source of where it came from as possible, because it's all chemistry. And then start to learn how to choose and think and breathe and speak and take action in a way that layers to you feeling better, just like feeling better, whatever that means to you.
Right.
And so when you actually then go into that practice, by the end of the class, there should be a liberation of authenticity. There should be I believe it's an organic state. You think about children, for example, how innocent, how joyful. I mean, I forget the exact statistic, but it's like if you compare how many times a day a 4-year-old laughs to a 40-year-old, it's like thousands of laughs apart. It's
between a 40-year-old and a child.
And so, like, you think about what our natural state would be, and then you think about how far away from a natural state of that you got, and just how good it feels. So, you know, that's why I'm so passionate about mind-body training, is that it teaches you how to be the full you, the bright you, the essence of you in every environment of your life. It's an on-the-mat practice for an off-the-mat life.
Yeah, because you're taking it out with you. And how do you apply what you've learned elsewhere? Or just even have it, if it's within you, if it starts to become part of you, you just start to innately start to do those things outside of the room too, right? Everywhere you go.
And there's more to the body than your muscles. And I think that's the other part. So if, you know, I look at it like this. So I have my jacket on. Now there's structure under my jacket, right? My shoulders are there. You know, I have a sternum. But if the jacket is pulled like that, and I'm like, do an overhead press. Well,
You're way too restricted.
Yes. And that's where there's a lot more education around your own fabric, right? Your fascial body, which is largely two things: water and electricity, which is conduits of emotion. Which is it's ancient Eastern medicine. But you're not just the shoulder muscle.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole infrastructure above, below, and through. And it's not only influenced by physical training.
Yeah.
So when we can kind of back up and go, gosh, this is actually a magical machinery here.
Yeah.
And it's not actually as hard as we make it, but the relationship to it, the education around it, the freedom to make choices for me. You know, it's funny, people say, they'll walk into my class and they'll be like, do I grab the 10s or the 12s? And they hate it because I answer back with a question: which feels right to you today?
Yeah. What are you feeling in your current body in this moment? Do you need to go lighter? Do you need to go heavier? You know what I mean?
But
I love that freedom to choose.
Yeah, I ultimately believe people's self-advocacy needs to be supported, and that's how I teach the MB360 teachers to teach. A, trust your people. B, love the people. 3, give to the people. Serve the people. Hold the space so they feel like they can choose, that whatever they choose is enough, that they're going to build a relationship. I believe, for me, I've had over 300,000 students to date, and then I stopped counting. My goal is, if you come into my world and you leave and you never see me again, there was at least one thing that you learned about yourself that you can apply outside of that experience, that there's a value add, a seed planted, something.
Something was there.
Not about me.
But
not
about you.
About
You're learning
you,
about
you.
Yes.
Because that's ultimately what continues on, right?
Yeah.
Like, empower people to be in their space. I also believe that I'm a consummate student. I love degrees. I love learning. The more I learn, the less opinions I have about any other person's path or choice. Yeah. So I only ask questions. I offer ideas, and then I ask people, how does it feel? Well, guess what? That's the beginning of the class. Feel, breathe, move. Go back to how does it feel? Well,
always come back to that.
And tomorrow, Jamie, I can't say to Jamie, what are you going to feel tomorrow at 11 a.m.? Jamie, we don't know if you're going to get tomorrow at 11 a.m., let alone what you will feel. So it helps people show up as they are, accept where they are, which is the neutralizing force.
Right.
Imagine a world where we accepted ourselves and we accepted others in there individually.
And
Imagine that
we didn't
world.
fight against it. We didn't resist it. We let that go. Yeah.
Imagine different opinions, different appearances, different ideas, different preferences, and that to me is what MB360 is. It's designed for the human to be able to empower a better version of themselves, or make changes or choices, or heal, or get through life through movement that's above and beyond fitness or results of changing your physical body, so that the world can actually live in coherence and joy and connection and community in a much better way. So it's like you only have control of yourself, what you think, what you speak about, what you believe, what you do. But that responsibility changes the fabric for everyone else.
Well,
it's leading by example. It's embodiment by choice.
I love that. I feel like that's a perfect place to end this, Jessie. Did we miss anything? Like, I feel like that just whole idea of embodiment by choice, like we get to take this out and share it, even if it's subconsciously, right? It's how we show up in the world, in the next place that we go.
Yeah, I'll just add this. It's a great workout as well.
Yes, it is.
We get into the depth, right? And sometimes you're like, I don't even understand what you're talking about. That's okay. It's a great workout. It's an incredibly intelligent workout that you would pay a lot of money for. That's included in a membership, because it's a way to gift you an opportunity to be a better version of yourself in more than just your body, because everybody knows you are more than just your body.
Yes.
And it'll give you the physical results. It'll make you feel stronger than you've ever been. It will help you move better and longer in your life. So longevity is a huge piece of mobility and mindset and fascial aware training and breath work and everything that we're doing in there. But when you come in, it's a great workout and it's a great time.
Yes.
So if that's where people are, do you want a great workout and a great time? Enter the door. Take 10 classes before you have an opinion. Yeah. It takes about 10 before your body and your mind kind of catch up to it. Then decide, should I add this into my weekly recipe?
Yeah. I love that.
That's what it is.
And people, it's not just that you have to go to a club to do this either.
Correct.
There are amazing MB360 classes in our on-demand library in the Lifetime Digital app. Highly recommend downloading it. It's free for everybody. Download it. Jessie, you're on there.
I'm in there.
Other instructors are also in there that you've personally taught on this method. So that's awesome. All right, if people want to follow Jessie, they can follow her on Instagram at jessie.mindbodylife. And I think that's it. Jessie, thank you once again for coming on with me.